So, I have a story for you. The last time I told you guys a story was when I told you the story about me going on my honeymoon and getting soap all over my car. But there's a much, I'm not gonna say better, not a better story, just a different story that happened before the wedding had even taken place. It was actually the day before the wedding. Now this story sort of starts 2 days before the wedding. This was the evening that I had my bachelor party. And as the wonderful homeschooled Christian young man that you all know that I am, you can probably guess the underhanded shenanigans I got into on my bachelor party. We stayed in the apartment that I had just moved into and played video games and ate pizza. Specifically Fortnite. I remember we played a lot of Fortnite. That was popular back then. Is it still popular? Anyway, it was a great time. Hung out with my 4 groomsmen. It was awesome. Now here's the thing. We are friends. And friends that are the best of friends are the most loving people you will ever meet. Also the most diabolical. You know this because I shared in my last story video that all the groomsmen saran wrapped my car. We had to tear our way into it before we could leave from the wedding. Now I know this is tradition, but it wouldn't be fair if I didn't also pull pranks from time to time on the groomsmen that I know. So we all hung out that night, slept like not as much as we should have, and got up the next morning, loaded up into the cars, and we went off to the wedding location, and we got all sorts of stuff prepped up. We're going over here to a rehearsal, get stuff ready, party, and everything's going great. Hannah is trying to make sure that everything goes well, and she's stressed, but she's also beautiful and amazing, and I love her. And after that's all done, we're still not done with the day because now it's the evening before the wedding. And things happened the evening before the wedding too. Hannah was surprised by an impromptu party from a bunch of the people who had come to the wedding. Logistics, we're trying to make sure, did we forget anything? Oh goodness, we did forget something. We haven't really practiced the first dance for the wedding. Yay! Fortunately, there are people there who are willing to help us and like walk us through how to be epic dancers. But now it's like 1 or 2 in the morning by the time we finish and we say goodnight to each other. And the thing was that we were all staying at Hannah's parents' house. All the women in the wedding party were sleeping inside, whereas all the men were sleeping outside in a camper. So I put on my shoes and I go out to the camper. It's like raining. It's dark and stormy night sort of stuff going on. Yes, it rained on my wedding. I have words for the Midwest on that. But I've come to expect it. Anyway, the night before my wedding, it was also raining. So I'm tromping out. I haven't even seen the camper. I don't know where it is. I thought it was in like the back field. I find out it's like around the house. I finally get to the camper. And it's like this big camper, popped up tent thingy. Doesn't matter. It was dry. So I'm trying to get to it, but I also realize it's like 2 in the morning and I don't want to wake anybody up. But as I approach the camper, I realize, oh, there's lights on. Everybody in there, like I see movement, shadows, and moving around. No one has gone to sleep yet. Why would you sleep before the day of a wedding? So I'm creeping up, and I am a diabolical person, okay? A dark and stormy night, and a camper, and people who would later saran wrap my car. Something in me knew that the balance was going to shift, and I needed to shift that back a little bit. Preemptively. So I'm creeping up and I see that someone, one of my groomsmen, is sleeping right next to one of the windows, but he's got his back turned. And as I get closer, I realize he's not sleeping, he's on his phone. So let me ask you a question. What would you do in this scenario? Would you A, walk up to the window of the tent, give a nice tap and say, hello, good sir, how are you? B, just go in the tent like a normal person and say, hello, fellow groomsmen, how are you tonight? Or C, crouch at the window with a creepy face and wait for him to turn around. If you selected A or B, you're a normal human being. And if you selected C, well, you need to contact me. Put your name in the comments and like, tell me about yourself. We're kindred spirits, I'm sure. I stood at the window and it's like this mesh window so he could hear me if he wanted to. So I'm like keeping my breath down so that he doesn't hear me behind him. I'm staring at him and I'm like, okay, any moment he might look back, and I'm realizing he's probably not gonna look back. He's focusing on his phone. You don't look around like, oh, is someone looking at me? Oh, no, you're on TikTok or whatever he was on back then. He actually hates TikTok. He's gonna get so mad at me. So I'm sitting here, just kind of willing him to turn around. Come on, you know you wanna do it. You know you wanna turn around. Turn around, Josiah. Turn around. Turn around, Josiah. You know you wanna do it. You know you wanna do it. There's someone behind you, Josiah. You know you wanna turn around. Just turn around. Just turn around. Turn around! And I'm pretty close to just stopping because I was like, okay, if this pays off, this will be pretty funny, but if not, I'm just gonna go inside. It's no big deal. And he turns around! And I was expecting him to be like, ha ha, funny, Ryan. He flips out. Like, he went from looking at his phone to flipping over to kind of like searching around in the darkness, and then eyes meet me, and he's up 2 or 3 feet in the air, which is very impressive for someone who was horizontal previously, like 1 nanosecond ago. And he like rouses the rest of the camper. They're like, what just went down? What's going on? And I circle around the camper and go in the door, and he's like crouched down in the fetal position. Ryan! And his eyes are just big. And Josiah's awesome. We are best buds. And I solidified that night, I'm pretty sure. And so I go in and I'm like, Josiah, are you okay? And his part of the story is what makes this amusing. He turns to me and he says, you don't understand, Ryan. I was looking at my phone and I was scrolling through and realized that the window behind me was open. And I thought, wouldn't it be the most creepy thing ever if I turned around and someone was looking at me? And that was the moment that I decided to creep up behind him and deliver the most creepy stare you have ever seen within the dark and stormy night. So yeah, the fact that the next day he decided to saran wrap my car with 3 other men makes sense. What's the moral of the story? Because a good story always has a moral, right? Hannah's father, my father-in-law, he once told me, live for the reaction. And I like to think I did that night. And you should too. By reacting to this video. Be sure to hit that like button. I'm not lowering myself to this level. Don't stay up late at night or you'll realize what faces you in the dark. That was kind of creepy. If you don't want to see creepy faces at your window at 2 o'clock in the morning, don't stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning. The moral to this story? If you have an important event planned for the next day and you need your rest, it's best to go to sleep early or you'll find me staring at you through your window at 2 in the morning. Stay classy!